Hi, everybody. A very good afternoon. I hope you're all well. Just got to mute you there, guys. Juliet, how are you? Okay. Hello, everybody, and good afternoon. And you're very, very welcome to day 15 in the Magic Book on Gratitude. So day 15 is called Magically Heal Your Relationships. I've had the pleasure this morning of speaking with quite a few different groups of people. And I just recorded about, I think it was a 6-minute voice message for a colleague of mine in the great down under, isn't it? It's great down under. Anyway, down in Australia. And it's very appropriate that I've been dealing and helping people this morning with magically healing their relationships through what we teach and what we study here in our beautiful academy. So good morning, everybody. I see two people here, John and Juliet, are with us. So for those of you in the academy, you remember we're adjusting our times from 1 o'clock to 2 instead, from 12:30 until 2. So from 12:30 till 1. We'll figure out which is the best way forward for you guys, whether we'll be doing the questions and answers from 12:30 to 1, and then I go into my teaching hour, or whether we'll teach from 12:30 to 1 and then go into our questions and answers afterwards. We'll see, but we will move on today anyway. While everyone's finding their way at the moment, we have a couple of guys over there, and normally we have 20 or 30 or 40 people, so maybe you're getting used to the transition. So very, very welcome to both of you, John and Juliet, and welcome to everybody who's watching us as well over on Facebook. How are you, Rachel? I hope you're well, wherever this is, wherever you're picking up on this today. So let's get right into the magic practice. Why don't you let us know? I know we were live yesterday, and I got some comments as well yesterday, but why don't we let maybe some people didn't follow along with us on Saturday and Sunday. Maybe you took the weekend off. So let us know how you've been getting on. Type replay if you're watching the replay, and let us know how you've been feeling and how you've been experiencing some of this wonderful magic coming your way from the work that you're doing. Okay. Hang on, there's Rachel as well. Hello. There's two Rachels, Rachel Burway and Rachel Smith as well. Okay. Very good to see you both. Right. Let's get into magically healing your relationships. So if you have a difficult or a broken relationship, or if you're suffering from a broken heart, or if you hold any resentment or blame towards another person for anything, you can change it through gratitude. Gratitude will magically improve any difficult relationship, whether that person is a husband or wife, brother or sister, son, daughter, partner, boss, business client, work colleague, mother or father-in-law, parent, friend or neighbor. This is one of the toughest ones to do when it's with other people. If it's a situation you're trying to manifest money, or you're trying to manifest favorable circumstances around maybe a job interview or travel arrangements, or like I would love to bring my mother and father to Sydney to see my sister and her little son, and it's not opened yet. That the country, I don't believe, is opened up over there. So you could be hoping, wishing and praying and trying to will it, but if it's a situation where you got to get on a phone call in a few hours and you're not really looking forward to it, you can start sending gratitude ahead of time. So when we're faced with a difficult relationship or a challenging situation, or if we're in a relationship, in almost all cases, we're not in the least bit grateful for the other person. Instead, we're busy blaming the other person for the problems that we have with them. Where am I? Yes, and that means we don't have a shred of gratitude. Blame is never going to make a relationship better. It's never going to make your life better. In fact, the more you blame, the worse the relationship gets and the worse your life gets. Whether it's a current relationship or a past relationship, if you harbor bad feelings towards another person, practicing gratitude will eliminate those feelings. Why would you want to remove your bad feelings about another person? Well, listen to this by Gautama Buddha. Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You're the one who gets burnt. I mean, that's just gorgeous, There's many other ways of saying it, but that's a tough one, and it's an honest one. It's one that gets you really thinking. Bad feelings about another person burn your life, but gratitude will eliminate them. And it's hard. I remember talking to somebody about understanding. You hear Bob say that Solomon said, if you're going to get anything, get understanding. Well, understanding is really, really important. And some people would ask me, like, what is what would you say is a kind of a very advanced level of this stuff? And I think it's forgiveness and gratitude for somebody, even if they've hurt you. Sandy Gallagher and this woman called Gina, they came together and put together a little booklet. And the booklet it's a list of 10 gratitudes. It's a gratitude pad, the Proctor Gallagher gratitude pad. So you give a list of 10 gratitudes, things you're grateful for. And then at the end, you, there's sending love to somebody who's hurt you. So yeah, you write down the things you're grateful for, and then send love to somebody who's hurt you as well. It can be a very advanced level of understanding. If you can sit and meditate, like I can find myself maybe go down a little bit of a negative spiral about some people who've hurt me in the past. And then I find myself going, nope, I don't blame them. I don't blame me. I just blame the paradigm, that little bit of a middle ground where I can feel my negative words. I can feel negative words in my mind, in my inner voice. And I go, no, because I don't want any of that. Once upon a time, like my wife is a vegetarian. So once upon a time, I made a vegetarian pasta dish for myself and my sister Carmel. And June was a few spoons into it. And then she was like she goes the sauce repeated on her, and she was like, oh, and she goes, I smell meat, I taste meat. And I was like, no, vegetarian, guaranteed. I didn't realize at the time that you could buy like a jar of Dalmia or one of those Ragu or one of those brands that actually had little pieces of meat in it. And there was little pieces of meat in the sauce. So that was it over. But she'd unintentionally consumed a meat product for the first time in probably 15 years or something like that. Sometimes without us knowing, without, intentionally thinking it, we can be driving along for a couple of miles and realize that we've gone into a full-blown virtual argument with somebody who's really hurt us in the past. And when I get that, I go, oh, I don't want any of that. Let's say let's say, for example, you were speeding and the guard pulled you over, and always the road is 80 kilometers an hour, but all of a sudden the signs have been changed to a 60, and no, you didn't know about it. And now you're 20 kilometers an hour over the limit and you're getting a fine. It's like that reaction, you'd say, it's like I know ignorance is no defense of the law, but if you genuinely, let's say you were away for a month and they changed the speed limit, and then you didn't know, like you're saying, well, Garda, I didn't know. It's like that. It's almost like if you're living a life of, I know how I want to think, I know how I want to feel, I know the actions I want to take today, I've got a very purified mindset, I don't want negativity. Sometimes it can inadvertently just happen, like my wife eating the sauce with the meat in it, or without you accidentally or break the speed of it. You don't want it, but it just happens upon you. This is where, if you can stop it, like I can go stop, I can hear it. Oh my, I almost like want to forgive say sorry to my body for even letting it go through that few minutes of absent-mindedness and anger towards another human being, because it is like holding the hot coal. You are burning yourself. Someday I'll get him. I'll get revenge. It's just not doing good for you at all. So this would be a very tough one. And I wouldn't say Rhonda Byrne could have put this on week 1. I think you were building up with 2 weeks of gratitude to the point that you guys are feeling and seeing good everywhere, experiencing really good inner feelings as well. So now it's time to take it to another level. And imagine being able to forgive someone who hurt your brother or sister, or your mom, somebody who really let you down, somebody who screwed your family out of money, or screwed you out of money, or somebody who let you down, or obviously they let themselves down, but to be able to openly forgive them and release them to their higher self is amazing. And she's saying that gratitude is an easy way to become that type of an individual. So, for example, if you have an ex-partner and you're connected to them through your children, and the relationship isn't good, look at your children's faces and realize they wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for you and your ex-partner, both contributing to that. Your children's lives are one of the most precious gifts that you have. Look at your children and give thanks to your ex-partner for their lives every single day, as well as bringing peace and harmony to the relationship. Through your example, you'll be teaching your children the greatest tool for their life, which is gratitude. Or if you're suffering from a broken heart or grief due to a relationship having ended, you can use gratitude's magical power to transform your pain. Gratitude magically transforms emotional pain into healing and happiness faster than anything else. And the story of my parents is a perfect example of that. This is a nice story, actually. Hello, Yvonne Donoghue. How are you? Happy Monday to you. I see you giving us a thumbs up over there. My mother and father fell in love with each other virtually at first sight. I think that was the same in my marriage, but it was me first. Then she kind of said, really? After a few months of, I used to walk her home every night from the Crow's Nest down to the student accommodation. Little did she know. I was mad about her. Anyway, when my father died, my mother understandably suffered from enormous grief. After months of suffering, she began to use gratitude's magical power, and despite her immense grief and pain, she looked for things to be grateful for. She began with the past and recalled all the wonderful times of happiness she had received through decades with my father. And then she took the next big step and she looked for things to be grateful for in the future. Wow. One by one, she found them. She found or remembered things that she had always wanted to do but didn't have the time to do when my father was alive. And with this courageous step of gratitude, opportunities to fulfill her dreams magically poured in, and her life became rich with happiness again. The magical power of gratitude gave my mother a new life. For today's magical practice, you're going to look for a hot coal that's burning in your life and literally turn it into gold through gratitude. Choose one difficult, problematic, or broken relationship that you want to improve. It doesn't matter whether the person's currently in your life or if it's a past relationship or if the person is no longer in your life. Sit down and make a written list of 10 things you're grateful for about the person you've chosen. Think back to the history of the relationship and list the great things about the person or the great things you received from the relationship. The easiest way to do this is to think back to the way things were before the relationship deteriorated or ended. If the relationship was never good, then think hard about any good qualities in the person because they are there. This magical practice is not about who is right or wrong. No matter what you feel someone has done to you, no matter what someone said or didn't do, you can magically heal the relationship and you don't need the other person in order to heal it. There is gold in every relationship, even in the difficult ones. And to bring riches to your relationships of your life, you've got to find this gold. As you dig and discover nuggets of gold, write it down. Address the person by name and express your sentence in gratitude. So let's say, I don't want to say names in case people know them. Let's say Bill and Ted. Bill and Ted's bogus journey. So Bill and Ted, I am grateful for, and it says for what? Well, I'm grateful for your anger and your lack of self-control because you helped me to discover a new form of healing when you made me feel very anxious. Selena, I'm grateful for you breaking my heart and breaking up with me and cheating on me. I'm grateful you did that because you really helped me to understand how it is to love somebody, truly love somebody. Molly, I'm really grateful that you were so mean to me as a child and you tried to make me feel so what's the word I can say here? Insignificant. You helped me to understand that you're not just someone to look up to because you're an old person. Like, respect is something you need to earn, you know. So this was a person that I was meant to look up to because they were older and I was in their care or whatever. But it was very, very. I actually went through it again, and it's kind of like not a past life progression, but this like regression therapy or something like that. And I was lacking confidence in my business a few years ago, and I went to kind of see a therapist and just to get some extra advice. I like doing different counseling sessions and different hypnosis and different stuff because I like it. It's good for me. I like even this week now I'm going to be sitting in barrels of ice at the Wim Hof retreat. I want to take my life to take my mind to the limits and challenge myself. I like doing that. I like facing my fears and having tough conversations with people. I don't mind that at all. But it happened that I was lacking confidence that I'm not good enough to get to that level. And I went into a hypnotic state and I was asked why. And I remember back to this person was tying my shoelaces. But while they were tying my shoelaces and everybody else was playing, there was like a monologue of putting me down. And I understand now, when I look back, I understand why they were putting me down. But I was only a little boy. and it stayed with me for a long time, but it went into my subconscious. So then when I was trying anything new, I had a kind of an inner dialogue of, who might do this? I'm not good enough. I'm nobody. I'm a nobody. I'm a nobody, you know? So that I overachieved past that version of my self-image. I went to Toronto for my first time as a consultant, and there was hundreds and hundreds of my peers there. And I remember two women came over and wanted to take a picture with me at the check-in desk, and that was the start of about 3 very tough days, because they were doing this kind of a celebrity status, you know? And I was like, no, you can't. No, I'm decked. And they're like, yeah, you inspire us. And I'm like, okay, thanks. And I went to my bedroom and I was all confused. I was like, this is weird. And as the week kept going on, it's like, you're great, you're amazing, you inspire me. I was like, okay, thanks very much. We'll go away there now. We'll do something else. Just couldn't cope with it at all. And eventually was just like freaking out. I was like, and I had a great conversation with my mentor, and he was like, your old self-image and your new self-image are like fighting against one another. This is what we see and this is who you are, but this is what your paradigm is like, but you're not that. Da, 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 da. You know, so I was delighted to get into the roots of it and find out and go into a meditation and go into hypnotic state and go back and try and find out moments in my life where I felt that. Maybe it was when that person cheated on me and broke my heart. It's like maybe that validated something that I was underlining fear. You're not good enough for them. You're not good enough for anyone. You're never going to be good enough. So why would I say I'm grateful to her? Why would I say I'm grateful to Molly for treating treating me that way when she was tying my lace? Like, she was more or less saying, at your age, you should be able to tie your lace, but you know, I wouldn't expect more from you anyway. You know, this was really not a nice dressing down, but it stayed with me. And clearly, you know, it was one of the earlier moments that I remember that, but I must have carried that then into another one and another one and another one. It was just fascinating stuff. Imagine what people are going around with. Imagine what people are carrying around through their lives. You know, it's sad. It's tough. You know, I love what Price Pritchett said. Price Pritchett wrote this book, U Squared. I got to meet him there a few months ago and have a conversation, and I asked him for some questions and some tips and whatever. And the one thing he said was, one of the things that gives him the most confidence about the world is that human race is such an enormous capacity for positive change. Like, we are so good at rebuilding. Like, we are so good at coming out of a crisis and going after it. Like, that's one thing he says, is that we can rebuild. Well, I've rebuilt from letting go of those things. So I can turn to those people who've hurt me in my mind and forgive them and let them go, but also be grateful for what their pain did for me and probably for others. I've probably learned to give very good advice because of learning to become someone who forgives, you know. So, for example, he says, I'm grateful for everything you did. So he says, Paul, I'm grateful for our time together. While our marriage did end, I learned a lot. I'm so much wiser today, and I use what I learned from our marriage in many of the relationships today. Paul, I'm grateful for everything you did to try and make it work, because 10 years of marriage means that you did try. Paul, I'm grateful to you for our children. The joy I receive from every day, it could not have happened without you. Paul, I'm grateful for you for the suspicion. Oh, pardon me. Paul, I'm grateful to you for the precious moments I had with our children as they grew up. I got to see them and talk and walk for the first time. I know without you, I wouldn't have had that opportunity. So I'm grateful for the times we had, and we did have many great times. I'm grateful that you wanted to continue to be a father to the children after our divorce, or whatever the situation is. By the time you've finished your gratitude of 10 things, you should feel already so much better about the person and the relationships. So how can I give you examples of my one? Well, yeah, I mean, oh God, I'm trying to think. I would need more time to think about the one where, yeah, this girl cheated on me one time. I was heartbroken, and I found out as well, you know, what's the song by Marvin Gaye? I heard it through the grapevine, and it wasn't good. It wasn't a nice feeling. Felt very hurt and very you know, just shocked, like being lied to. Just couldn't imagine it at all, you know. But so I could really look back on, grateful that you introduced me to music, grateful we went to concerts together, grateful that when we did finish up, you came back and you gave me all my CDs back. That was okay. I like that music. I was glad to get my CDs back. Grateful that you did that, because I went on to have 2 wonderful relationships after you, and the second one is my wife, you know. So you can say all these things, and because you broke my heart or broke up with me, you probably helped me to love in another way, and probably loved cautiously the second time, and probably released myself to love fully the third time, you know. So yeah, you can really. We talked this morning about a cracked pot, not a cracked pot, a cracked pot. I was reading from another book this morning to some friends of mine on a Zoom call, and we were talking about the man who goes up to the well, and he fills two pots with water, and one of the pot has a crack, and it keeps losing the water all the way back down to the house, whereas the other pot is perfect and it doesn't lose any water. And the cracked pot is all upset, and it says to the master, it's like, I'm sorry, I let you down, I'm always losing water. And he just says, hang on 1 second, I'll show you something. And he takes the pot back out, and he shows the path all the way back up to the well. And he goes, what do you see? And he goes, on one side, I see flowers. And he goes, yeah, that's the side that I bring you down on, because your cracked pot waters the ground and the flowers grow. So you might think you've got imperfections, but look, your imperfections create beautiful things as well. This is a very advanced use of gratitude, to be grateful to people that have hurt you in the past and magically heal relationships. You can also do it with magical. You can also combine it with have a magical day, or the other one was make all your wishes come true. So what you can do is, with making all your wishes come true or sprinkling magic dust, what you can do is think about the relationships that are not being healed. So like, I met a lot of family last week at my uncle's funeral, and there's, people change, people get older. I remember there was one person, and they were, they're a bit frosty, whatever. And, I think they're, is what it is, but I was like, hey, how's it going? I was just going to be myself anyway and put myself out there and hello. And then I stopped for a minute, and I was like, it's a funeral. They're probably not having a cold shoulder at all. They're probably just grieving like you are. And I was like, oh yeah, I get it now, So Josephine is going to mute you there. Cool. So you can magically heal relationships. I recall, again, I know yesterday we were talking, last week I was talking about lesson 9 in the academy. Lesson 9 of Thinking into Results is called the magic word. It's about attitude. And Maria Morgan commented on it afterwards. But how do you want it to be? Like, how do I want to think about the situation? How do I want to feel? And what are the actions that I want to take? When you're combining the relationships, when I was studying Thinking into Results as a client, I was running a mastermind group on behalf of my coach, just to help her out a little bit. And I was taking on some clients for a bit of guidance and, that type of thing. And they weren't showing up. And I'm like, I'm taking an hour out of my week or 2 hours out of my week on a Thursday at 8 o'clock. And I've put this meeting on, and I'm there. There's one person or two, and where are the rest of them? And then, and June is this and June is that. And I had these friends, 2 friends, and we went out cycling one day. We were in a mastermind group as well. And I said, look, I've got this idea, but I'm not very confident in the idea myself, and I'd love your help. So what I'm willing to do is I'm going to give you a third each, right? So I'll have a third and you have a third. You guys have a third and I'll have a third, and that's just it. I'm just going to give it away to 2/3 of my business. And I did that, and they didn't really help out at all. And I started to really grind my gears. So I was actually on holidays in Bordeaux, and I rang up my coach, and I was like, it's all a big mess. They're not showing up for I've given them a third of the business, and they can make millions, and they're not even so grateful. And I was cranky. And then I was like, and then June did this and blah, 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 blah. And then that mastermind group I'm running for you, none of them showed up as right. And then pretty much, what was it? Bruce Springsteen said in one of his songs, The Streets of Philadelphia, he says, I was unrecognizable to myself. He's talking about the lyrics in that song. He says, I was unrecognizable. I was really having a cranky grumpy old day. And then she said to me, oh, I can see what's going on here, Declan. And I says, what? And she said, I can see that you haven't done lesson 9 yet on gratitude or on attitude. And I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, just do that lesson. Think about what you said on this call and do that lesson. So I went off and I did that lesson. And my first instinct was, flip's sake, imagine telling me that it's my attitude. I mean, that's wrong. It's my attitude. But now I've realized from just doing this work for the last few years that my outside world was an expression of what was going on inside. And instead, I learned from that period of time, the minute I started thinking well of my 2 business partners, they showed up. The minute I started thinking better of June in that moment of our marriage, that changed. The minute I started thinking better about having so much fun and seeing all the people in the mastermind group just shining up the screen and talking about how brilliantly everything was going, sure enough, that's how it went. So attitude, you hear people saying the attitude of gratitude. They're like two different things. You've got attitude, which is your magic word, how you think about things, how you want them to go, feel about how you want them to go, and then take appropriate actions, or take no actions at all most of the time, and it just seems to turn around. But then the gratitude is almost like the little beautiful spoon of sugar that helps the medicine go down. The gratitude just makes it so much better. So if I went back in time now to that moment, I would say I'm so happy and grateful for the buzz that we're going to have next Thursday night in that mastermind group. I mean, the screen is going to be electric, and I can't wait to see all the changes in their lives from being part of this mastermind. Now, something stirs inside in each of every one of them, and they're like, do you know what? I need to get on a call with Declan on Thursday. Actually, I'm missing that. That's brilliant. But they couldn't. They were being probably repelled, because I was thinking, not in gratitude, in the other way. I was like, they're probably not going to show up now this week, and here I am in Bordeaux, and I'm taking time out of my holiday. And that's not me at all, but that's the kind of the vibration I got into for a few weeks. And here I am doing all the work, and I'm like the little red hen, and I've given them this business, and I've got the stock, and I'm going around to the shops, and they're not doing anything. Of course, my thoughts were becoming my feelings. I was vibrating out and seeing back nothing but the same results. And similarly, it's like, no matter what I do, it's never good enough for June, right? So the marriage, the business, and the little bit of coaching, all three were in a hymns. And the gratitude, that I'm so happy and grateful now that we have a wonderful call. Like, it tells you to look, that lesson tells you to write things down the way they are, write them down the way you want them to be, and think about it that way. And that's how it works. So it's like sprinkling magic dust for those of you who were with us for the last 15 days. It's like thinking about making all your wishes come true, and it's about healing relationships as well. So with all three, the mastermind was full the next Thursday night at 8 o'clock. June and I just had this lovely, smoochy back together. Aren't we, like Kylie and Jason? Aren't we delighted to be back together again? And now we're back together. And then we weren't apart at all. It was just cranky time for a couple of weeks. And then I got a text from in the message group with myself and my two business partners. Let's meet. Do you know what? Let's meet, and we'll meet in your clinic, Declan. And we all arrived in, and we'd all bought coffee and scones to surprise. So we'd 6 coffees. We had, like, there was 9 coffees for the 3 of us, and there was loads. Everyone bought the treats, and we were all sitting inside in my clinic, and we all sat around, and there was hugs and tears and apologies, and we're so grateful for the opportunity. And I really want to be part of this, and I definitely don't want to see it fade, and I definitely don't want to see it fizzle. And all of the magic relationships became magic relationships again. So it really does work. I really recommend it for, if you're a therapist, and if you've got a list, if you've got your book full, if you've got your book and it's maybe empty, and let's say you have a 10, 11:30, a 1, a 2:30, and a 4, and you've got like 5 slots available, 5 90-minute slots, and you're there, and it's like, oh, it's raining now, they'll probably all cancel, and this is what always happens now, especially on a Monday, and then all of a sudden cancel. Change that around and start saying to yourself, I am so happy and grateful, and picture the person paying you and giving you a tip, and picture them recommending to your friends, and picture them telling, somebody comes in and says, oh, Claire was here with me at the weekend, and she said she got a great session. I'd like to get a great session as well. So you're magically healing your relationships. Let's go back to what she says at the beginning. Husband or wife, brother or sister, son or daughter, partner, boss, business client, work colleague, mother or father-in-law, neighbor, parent, friend. All of these magic relationships can be healed. So you know what she wants you to do. You say the name of the person, and I'm grateful, and why you're grateful. So let's see. Let's say Marketa. So Marketa, I'm grateful for your question. 3 weeks ago this Friday, it got us to have a wonderful conversation, and it started off, a nice relationship together. Or John, I'm grateful for our phone conversation a couple of weeks ago. It helped me to help you to understand me, and it helped to make our relationship even better. Laura, I'm grateful for the meetings we had when we started working together so that we could set up a wonderful working relationship. And I would suggest you even don't have to wait for a relationship to not be perfect for it. You can even do magical relationships. Like today now, my eldest is Layla. And you know what? I sat in a train with a wonderful guy a few years ago, and I was at a course in Dublin. I was writing up my notes, and he was like the young man Jordan Lee, the young man that I told you about last week, who was like an angel on the train. He sat to me next to me and says, "Declan, I've learned we don't nothing is too hard. We just need to try a bit harder." Well, on the way down on the train from Dublin one time, I sat next to this guy from Dublin who now lives up around Cara Lake, and I was like rewriting all the notes. I'd taken loads of notes over a 4-day course on acupuncture up in I think it was Portobello College or one of those colleges in Dublin. And I was rewriting my notes because when I write fast, it's not the clearest. And he was like, "What's all that for?" And I was like, "Oh, I was at a 4-day course and I want to make sure I have them all rewritten before I get home because I've been away for 4 days. And when I get home, it'll be busy." And he was like, "What's it all for, Declan?" And we had a great little conversation for a couple of hours. And he helped me to understand something powerful. He says, "Have you children?" I said, "Yeah, I have 3 children." And he said, "Do you spend time one-to-one with them?" And I said, "I think I do." And he was like, "No, you don't." He says, "No, you don't." And I was like, "Okay." And we got chatting away. And he said, "Even when they're old," he says, "call to spend time with each of them." Now, we spend time as a group of 5 all the time, June and I and the 3 kids. But today, the minute my daughter's finished school, I'm going to take her in. She's a bookworm, reads books till the cows come home. So I'm going in today, take her into the shop just for daddy and daughter time, just to go in, buy the books for her holiday. We're going on holidays. We're going to Lanzarote on Saturday for a week, and she will probably read 2 or 3 books next week. So I'm going to go in with her. But I just noticed yesterday she was in the best of form and whatever, and just to take her away. So we love each other. We're great friends. There's nothing that we need to heal, but it doesn't mean that you have to wait for the relationship to be bad to make it better. So you can magically heal your relationships through the power of gratitude. Now, let's look at practice number 15. Magically heal your relationships. Number 1, count your blessings. Of course, we know that. Write out your 10 blessings. Write out why you're grateful for them. Reread them. And at the end of them all, say thank you, thank you, thank you. Then choose one difficult, problematic, or even broken relationship that you want to improve. Now, she said just one. I would say that you can choose many if you wish. She said, sit down and make a written list of 10 things you're grateful for about the person you've chosen. Write it down in the following way. So, Sinead, I am grateful for, the friendship that we had, the way you helped me to get that job. And even though we've fallen out since, I'm just so grateful you got me that job. You set me on a new course of life or whatever it may be. Bernice, I'm grateful for you introducing me to my husband, who I'm now divorced from, because even though, who knows what way it can go, you can just really make it beautiful. Even though we've fallen out, I really am grateful for this, that, and the other. So before you go to sleep tonight, again, don't forget, hold your magic rock in one hand and say the magic words, thank you for the best thing that happened during the day. Okay? So with that, what I'm going to do now is go back into this here, and I'm going to say goodbye to everybody who is over in the Vibration and Attraction Masterclass and YouTube, because I'm going to be turning this call back into a call just for all the members of the Academy. So we're going to have a lovely Q&A and a nice little bit of a chat if anybody has any help anybody has any questions they need help with. So for those of you who are watching it on YouTube, this will be the end of the broadcast, and the same with the 7 levels of awareness, and I'll be keeping the call going for the Academy. If you're watching on Facebook in the Academy and you have any questions, just type it in the Academy comment section, and we have others who have joined us over here on Zoom, so I'll be probably unmuting some of you guys and answering some of the questions that you might have. Okay, so thank you for watching on YouTube and 7 Levels of Awareness Masterclass. See you tomorrow for day 16. We're well past the halfway mark now, and day 16 is the magic and miracles in health. So I've gotten some very nice feedback on Instagram messages, Facebook Messenger messages from people who are still feeling better when they did the health one. I think it's the magic health is day 3, day 2. Yeah, day 4, Magic Health. People have messaged me that they're still feeling better. I got it was last Monday I came back to work. Oh, no, Monday I was off. Tuesday, oh yeah, it was last Wednesday that I came back to work after being away for a few days, and I got private messages about my appearance from couple of Academy clients, couple of other people, and it was weird because I don't often get that. But it was like, you look healthy, you look happy, whatever it was. I honestly think it's back to the gratitude. I've turned up the gratitude on my health, being grateful for my health and my body. I was just, as I said, leading a message to an Australian friend of mine about difficulty in her relationship, which is quite appropriate with the magical healing of relationships today. And I remember just feeling taller and stronger and flexible as I was walking around my bedroom doing the recording for her. And I remember thinking, like, I haven't been working out, but my arms feel stronger. And I don't know why that is. And I honestly think it's like the gratitude for health works through us. So tomorrow we're going to be doing our second visit to Magic and Miracles in Health with the lovely Rhonda Byrne. So number 1, you're going to talk about health you've received in the past. Number 2, health you're continuing to receive in the present. And number 3, the health you want to receive in the future. So that's going to be a lovely practice tomorrow. But today, don't forget, pick at least one problematic relationship and send 10 different forms of healing to it. Okay, so farewell everyone on YouTube, and farewell everyone on the 7 Levels of Awareness, and stay with me, Academy members, and we'll have a nice chat today. Okay, so